Yo guys, it's JJ here, and today I'm going to be walking you guys through a new series of mine called the Drum Bounce series. And today we're going to start off with the iconic Detroit Bounce. So, before we get into this, first thing you need to know is the BPM of Detroit beats usually range between 170 to 200, very high BPM, very fast paced, and super bouncy. So, by looking at here, I've got ourselves the BPM at 190 for this example. And first things first, let's just get into the clap pattern. As you can see, very simple clap pattern. That's all Detroit really is. And honestly, you can add a bit of extra flair just by adding a nice little bit of extra clap just for the bounce. So without further ado, this is what the clap pattern sounds like. And there you have it, super simple, but it's a nice little snare. Next thing you guys need to know about the Detroit beats is the 808 pattern. And of course, as you can see here, it's a very simple pattern. Typically, Detroit beats usually have like the nice little free bounce at the beginning of the 2-bar, and it just typically repeats over. However, I decided to add a few extra filler notes over here and here, just to give it a bit more extra bounce. But the 808s are usually quite stubby, short, and very bouncy. So this is what it sounds like now. And there you have it. And as you can already hear just from the snare and the 808s alone, giving a very Detroit vibe. And also the thing you need to know about your 808s is to max out your velocities always. This makes it so your 808s hit harder, and I'd also advise doing this for your kicks, so it even gives that more trap sound. And before we continue further into the video, if you guys want to use the sounds that I use right here, all the sounds are in the description below, all for free. Help yourself to it, and you'll have the Detroit kit just for Detroit beats. So let's continue. Next up, we got ourselves the open hat pattern. Open hats are quite essential to Detroit beats. Usually they lie on top of the 808, so it gives it a bit of an extra bounce, a nice little bit of extra flair, and it's relatively simple. So as you can see here, I've lined my open hats on the 1 and the 3rd 808, and then over here I just line it up over the 1, 2, and 3 of the 808. So very simple, very repetitive, but that's the Detroit bounce for you. So this is what it sounds like now. And there we have it. Next up, of course, we got the kick. And as I said before, max your 808s. And as I said before, make sure to max your velocities out. Quite simple, quite straightforward. And of course, we just follow the 808 pattern, except it's all on a root note of C. So this is what the pattern sounds like now. And there we have it. Now, next up, we got the hi-hat pattern. And typically, Detroit hi-hats are very kind of high, very subtle, and you'll hear what I mean when we go through it. But as you can see, the pattern is relatively simple. Honestly, nothing too crazy when it comes to Detroit. However, I use the half-step tool, as you can see here. Right-click, use the scroller wheel to get onto the paintbrush. And all I did was click on these notes and then just drag them in to make my rolls. But honestly, all I did was use the magnet step, zoom in, and as you can see, roll over the rolls you want to get. And just play with the pitch of each note as well, as you can see here. It just adds a nice little bit of extra bounce. So without further ado, this is what the hi-hat sounds like with the drums. And there we have it. And of course, last but not least to the drums, you gotta get yourselves these nice little perks that you hear in Detroit beats, such as the zaps, the little perk vibes, all of that jazz. But for example, right here, we've got ourselves this nice little kind of like cowbell / rim thing. I'm not sure what it's called, but when you hear it, you'll know what I mean. And all we did was just lay down this nice little pattern here and got it repeating every 4-bar, just for a nice bit of bounce and repetitiveness. So without further ado, this is what it sounds like. And there we have it. Those are all the drums, but let me walk you through the arrangement and one more little tip. So as you guys can see by the arrangement, honestly, it's very simple, and I'll walk you through it now. First of all, we got ourselves an 8-bar that just begins off as the intro. Next up, as you can see, we got 2 8-bars back to back, and that will be your chorus. Very simple, straightforward. And as you can see, I've taken our element at the beginning and saved it for the second half of the chorus, just so the drums have a bit of extra bounce and it doesn't sound too repetitive. Then once your chorus is over, you want to use 3 different 8 bars for your verse. Typically, I take out the 808s. However, with a Detroit beat, I don't recommend doing that. So we got ourselves the clap, the 808s, and the hi-hat playing. Then into the middle of the verse, we got pretty much all the drums in because it's like the peak of the verse. For the last part of the verse, which is the pre-chorus in my opinion, the last 8 bar, we got ourselves this nice little pre-chorus going where it's literally just the clap pattern, the hi-hat, and the kick coming in towards the end. And then all I did was highlight it all, click Control C and then Control B, and it plays it back to back, and then you just copy and paste it over, and then you have your full pattern where it'll be chorus, verse, chorus, verse, chorus. And it is literally that simple. The last thing I want to show you guys is this right here. Right at the beginning of the first 8 bar, which is the intro, I like to have this nice little effect going on. So what I did was I added this nice little sound effect, and it's pretty much like a police siren coming in. It gives it a bit more of a dark vibe and a bit more energy. So you're going to hear the full beat now. We have pretty much made it to the end of the video, so of course, thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, comment down below. Make sure to share this with your friends. The drum kit's down below for free. Make sure you get it from the link. And of course, thanks for watching. Peace.